Baking soda, hacks, or hype? I'm going to let you decide actually. I'm going to walk you through every room of the house. I'm going to share with you a whole bunch of tips on baking soda, and then I'm going to let you decide, are they hacks or hype? I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, I get asked the question all the time, what about baking soda? Can I use it for cleaning? And is it as effective as other cleaners? Okay, what is baking soda? All right, baking soda is known by its official name as sodium bicarbonate. Now, sodium bicarbonate is a chemical compound that can either be mined from the ground or it can be created via chemical processing. So we come by it one of those two ways. And I say we come by it, actually we don't. We go to Costco and we buy these great big monster bags of it for a couple of bucks. But that's how it gets to us. Now, the chemical compound is actually naturally produced in our body. And sodium regulates our blood pressure and then also the water and the fluid balance in our bodies. And the bicarbonate, also produced in our body, regulates the pH levels of our blood. So our bodies already use sodium bicarbonate, okay? So it's part of who we are, and now we use it for cleaning and a whole bunch of other things. Before we go into it, I want to read the safety data sheet to let you know what is required by law for them to list about this product. And we have what's called skip ahead. I just learned about skip ahead. Skip ahead is where you go down to the bottom of the video and there are the words show more. You click on that and there's a little menu and then you can skip ahead if you don't want to hear about the safety data sheets. All right, so the first section on the safety data sheet is the information about the company. The company is 175 years old. It's a company called Church and Dwight. And Austin Church lived in Connecticut. His brother-in-law, John Dwight, lived in Massachusetts. And they were both selling sodium bicarbonate back in 1846. Then they're like, what are we doing? We should merge our companies. And so they merged the company together and it became Church and Dwight. And they came up with the Arm & Hammer brand and that logo that you've seen everywhere. They've been using that since the 1860s. So the baking soda company is 175 years old, right? It's been around forever. All right, what are the hazards? Well, it has no classified hazards whatsoever. The ingredients, it is 100% sodium bicarbonate. So it is 100% pure. It's not mixed or cut with anything. All right, the first aid measures, and they have to, by law from the globally harmonized system, put something on here. And there are no first aid measures, so they added a piece of advice. They said, never give anything by mouth to an unconscious person. The firefighting measures are water, spray, dry chemical foam, and carbon dioxide. I want to stop here for just a second and let you know that if you have like a bacon grease fire in your house, you can turn off the electricity on the stove and you can sprinkle baking soda on the grease fire and it will dissolve the fire and put it out because it releases, once the baking soda hits the fire and hits the heat, it emits carbon dioxide, which puts the fire out. So that's super cool to know. All right, so the accidental spills, if you spill it, well, they say you can vacuum it up. You can use a shovel, depending on how much of it you spilled, or you could also sweep it up. Put it in a container, throw it away. Okay, handling and storage. It says keep in a cool, dry place and out of the sunlight. I want to stop for just a second and draw attention to the fact that this bag is not a see-through bag. This bag blocks out the sunlight so that it remains and retains its purity and it doesn't dissolve with the sunlight or get filtered away. So that's something also important to remember. The exposure controls, that's the personal protective equipment we use when we use the product. There aren't any for regular everyday people. If you work in a chemical manufacturing plant where they produce baking soda, you would wear your regular personal protective equipment, which is, goggles and gloves and all that stuff. But for regular everyday use, don't need it. All right, so the physical and chemical properties. It is solid, it is white, it is a crystalline powder. It looks kind of like this. I put some in this cheese container just to use as a shaker. And it has a pH of 8.2. So that is right dead smack in the middle of the pH scale, right? It's a very neutral product. And it helps neutralize other products on both sides of the scale. Okay, so the stability and reactivity. The hazard reactions will not occur under normal circumstances, but the conditions to avoid are direct sunlight. So you don't want extreme high or low temperatures, and you want to keep it out of direct sunlight. So the toxicity, there are no classifications for toxicity, but if you're around it all day, every day, it can be irritating. Okay, ecological information, it's not classified, but it says please don't dump large amounts of this inside the rivers and streams, right? Probably not a good idea. The disposal considerations are dispose of the contents and the container with your regular trash. So whatever it is for your area, check with your local regulations. If there's, how do you dispose of trash? That's how you do it. Okay, transportation, it's not regulated. So this can travel by land, air, or sea. If you're going to go to visit your mother and you would like to take a little shaker of baking soda to your mother, that would also be okay. All right, and the regulatory information, it is not regulated by the chemical compounds on any U.S. state lists. And then on number 16, which is the other information, all they did was list that the safety data sheet was updated as of 2/17. And so typically companies will update their safety data sheets like every 20 years. So this is just a couple years old, and it is current as far as the safety data goes. Now, I have repackaged this in a smaller container, and I want to draw attention to the fact that I did, in fact, put a label on here for OSHA standards. And I did for also a smaller container that I use in the bathroom. And the reason I did this is because even though I know it's inside here, we never use chemicals in a different container unless it's labeled in case family or friends or someone else gets a hold of this. That way they know what it is, they have the contact information and all of the stuff required by OSHA. So we have that even on our small containers that we've repurposed this in, okay? So now let's go through the house and we'll take a look and see how baking soda is used. We're gonna start in the kitchen. The kitchen has lots of uses for baking soda. We're gonna start with the dishwasher because that's kind of icky sometimes and it can smell. When the dishwasher is empty, we're gonna pull out the bottom shelf and we're going to take our shaker bottle. We're gonna shake some baking soda on the bottom of the dishwasher. We're gonna leave it for about 6 hours. Then when we do our next load of dishes, it's gonna wash out all the stuff that's in there and the odors and all that stuff. So it's gonna process through the dishwasher and we're good to go. In our garbage disposal, next to the dishwasher is our sink. The garbage disposal often gets icky and it smells. We're gonna take about a half a cup of baking soda and we're gonna pour it in there after the water has run through and it's wet, so it sticks to the inside. We're gonna leave that there also for about 6 hours. So you can do all these at the same time and kind of let them dwell. And then when you come back, you take a bottle brush and you run a little bit of water in there, just enough to make a paste. Scrub the inside of the garbage disposal and then pull out the bottle brush. Turn on the water, let the water run through, and then turn on the garbage disposal and let it cycle through. And it will eat up all those odors as it goes down the drain. So there you go. All right, moving on through the kitchen. If you have a window in your kitchen, the baking soda also comes in a little box and it has these awesome little doors that just come off. And so there's a little skin so that it doesn't fall out, but it breathes through the skin and it will eat up the odors in your kitchen. So this is really great for like the kitchen cabinet, or if you have a little shelf where it's not really visible. Also, it's great for the inside door of your refrigerator. And I will make a note that this has on the box a place for you to mark the date, because they recommend that you change these pouches, not the pouch itself, but the little box. The box are like 35 cents. That you replace the boxes every 30 days. So my recommendation to you is use this as an odor eliminator and use it in your entire house. So one in like every room of your house and every closet and the refrigerator and your pantry and your laundry room and one next to every toilet. This is just a great way to remove the odors from your house. Okay, so there you go. The next thing in your kitchen, while you're in the kitchen, cooking. It's used in every bakery. And the reason being is because it produces the carbon dioxide. It works with yeast. It makes your cakes, your pastries, your muffins, bread, things like that. It makes them rise. And so they use it in cooking. And then also they use it as a neutralizer. So for example, let's say that you're cooking beans. Well, beans put off gas. And sometimes you get gas when you eat beans. So if you'll take the beans and you put them in a big bowl and you fill the bowl, cover the beans with water, put in like a half a teaspoon of baking soda, that will neutralize the gas. Then when you cook the beans, there's no gas and it doesn't give people gas. So that's a really great way as well. There's an interesting thing, but lots of antacids are created with baking soda. And if you look at the back of the packaging, it gives you instructions on how to mix baking soda with water and use it for heartburn and sour stomach and stuff like that, because it does neutralize the stomach acids. Of course, it says check with your doctor if you're taking different antacids or if you have a sensitive stomach or something like that. So there are lots of uses inside the kitchen that we use baking soda for. Now, if we move on to the next room, which is going to be our laundry room, baking soda is used as a laundry detergent. And it's no surprise that this same company that is the Arm & Hammer baking soda is the same company that produces OxiClean, right? No surprise. And you'll find lots of laundry products already have baking soda in them. And they'll have the Arm & Hammer logo. Yeah, no surprise. Okay, so another thing while you're in the laundry room using the laundry detergent, baking soda as a laundry detergent, you can also use it to eliminate the odors on the inside of your doors of your washing machine. So if you have a lot of icky stuff there that's starting to smell, you can sprinkle the baking soda in there. When you do your next load, it washes all that out. All right, another use. If you're one of these people and you have your kitty litter box inside your laundry room, it's awesome to line the bottom of your kitty litter with baking soda because, again, it's an odor eliminator. It will eat the odors as new odors are added, and it helps reduce that from the smell of your house. And then also, just to have one of these as an air freshener, like in the corner of your laundry room, super cool. Okay, so moving on to the next room, which is the bedroom. The bedroom has lots of uses for the baking soda. And one of them is when you strip the sheets to put them in the wash to do the laundry. One of the things you can do is you can sprinkle with your powder baking soda on the mattress. And that way it will eat up any body odors or any sweat or any of those kinds of smells. All right, another use is you can also use it on the floor if you have like pet odors and stuff like that. And it's not that the pets peed on the carpet. You don't ever want to put it on a wet carpet because that will ruin your vacuum. It will ruin the floor, and then it will be hard to get the clumps of the baking soda out. So you want to wait till the floor is dry, but lots of times they're just odors and pet dander and it just kind of smells. Okay, so talking about deodorizers, this is great to throw in your gym bag when you get back from the gym and your clothes kind of stink and your shoes kind of stink. You can put this inside your shoes and just leave it there till the next time that you go running or the next time you work out. And then it eats up the odors and you just shake it out of your shoes. But it eats up the odors and it works really, really great so that you're not transferring odor on top of odor on top of odor. So that's pretty cool. All right, so in the bathroom, one of the things we use the baking soda for in the bathroom, this is a waterproof container. It's completely sealed. I have a piece of tape, packing tape over my label. This goes right inside the shower. And I like this one inside the shower because no direct sunlight is going to get to it. But it is great when you take a shower, sprinkle some out, and use it as a skin exfoliator. You can also use it on your face as an exfoliator to help you get really clear, great skin. And you can also use it as a scalp scrub. So that's super cool as well. When you get out of the bathtub, you can also shake it on the floor of the bathtub and use it as a powdered cleanser as you clean your way out of the shower. So now you are clean and your shower is clean. I know, awesome, right? Is that a hack or what? Okay, so then you get out, you go over to the bathroom. When you go to the sink, you can do a couple of things with the baking soda that are super cool. One of them is you can brush your teeth. Now, there are 20 products right now that I know about on the market that have baking soda in them. Why? Because it brightens your teeth. But I use this little powdered container instead. You just pop off the lid, wet your toothbrush, dip your toothbrush in. Now you have a little glob and you just brush your teeth. So that's a really easy way to do it. One of the things that I would mention while you have the lid off, you can take a half a teaspoon and put it inside a cup, shake the cup up with a little bit of water, drink it as a mouth rinse. And because it is odor killing and it brightens your teeth, it's a great oral rinse instead of expensive mouthwash. I know, super cool, huh? All right, so while you are at your bathroom sink, you can take a half a teaspoon of this, drop it in the sink, use a non-scratch scrub sponge, and clean out your sink, just like you did the bathtub, using it as a powder cleanser. And as it goes down the drain, it eats the odors from the drain, and your bathroom is clean, your sink is clean, your face is clean, your teeth are clean, your breath is clean. Yay, right? Another series of great tips for the bathroom. Alrighty, so we've talked a little bit about the inside uses in all the different rooms of your house for baking soda. But did you know that you can also use it outside in your swimming pool? I know. On the back of this great big container, there are instructions on how to use baking soda to balance the alkalinity of your water so that you have crystal clear water. So there are so many uses. And I want you to ask yourself, baking soda, are they hacks or hype? Well, I'll share this with you. They did get the Savvy Cleaner seal of approval. And I'm super proud of this product. Like I said, it's been around for 175 years. There's a very good reason why. Share with me in the notes below the reasons why you use baking soda. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it. Wait, don't go away. I just discovered a shaker, a baking soda shaker. And I wonder to myself, how did I not know about this? I sent this video off for editing and I got a picture back from Kristen, who edits our shows, and it had baking soda shakers. And I said, Kristen, why am I just finding out about this right now? I had no idea these even existed. Well, it turns out that they're very hard to find. And I found a couple of them at one store in my town. And it's a very high-end, fancy schmancy grocery store called Publix. And it's not in the cleaning aisle, which is where I spend most of my time when I go to the store. But I found them in the baking aisle. So they do actually make a shaker that has the solid plastic so that the sun doesn't come through. And it has a shaker lid so that you can shake it and then close the lid. And then also the lid does pop off so that you can refill it when you're done. And because it has the label on it, that would match the requirements for OSHA labeling. So I bought myself a couple of these and now I am so super excited because now today I will say goodbye to my cheese shaker. And I will be using the baking soda shakers from here on out. I am so super excited. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Anyway, I wanted to let you know about the shakers as well. They're 12 ounces and they'll go great inside your shower or next to your bathroom sink when you brush your teeth or what have you. So, hello, shaker.